It is with a heavy hand I guide this pen. The grand opening of my new act was a complete and utter disaster. The automaton is as unpredictable as the Colorado weather. There I stood like a buffoon, talking to a puppet with no response whatsoever. I have never been so humiliated in my whole career. Tonight's debacle might have rendered my career unsalvageable. I told Mr. Cameron that we must act fast before the word of my failure spreads like an inextinguishable wildfire. Luckily, Mr. Cameron, with his reputation on the line, managed to convince the owner of the theater to give me one last chance. The owner agreed to let me perform at one of his less prestigious theaters in a couple of weeks. If the next show fails, not even a well-respected and established manager like Mr. Cameron will be able to save me, and he was keen on letting me know this. I must examine the automaton. Until now, I haven't been able to write this entry since I inspected the automaton a few days ago. The events that took place left me puzzled, and I have spent the last few days trying to make sense of it, but to no avail. It defies logic. I have most recently come to realize that logic and reason can only get you so far. This entry will serve as a documentation of the event as I experienced it. I brought the automaton to my father's prop room with the intent to solve whatever problem that occurred during my disaster performance at the Longmont Theatre. I opened the hatch at the back of the automaton, and what I saw sent a chill up my spine. Some cogs were rusted and crooked beyond repair, and some had even fallen off their position. There is no way that the condition of those cogs deteriorated so drastically between the time of my demonstration for Cameron and my performance at the Longmont. There is just no way. Suddenly I heard a faint whisper coming from the hatch. I questioned my senses at first, like any reasonable man would, but then came another, still faint but yet audible whisper. It was a harsh, guttural female voice that clearly said the word hungry. I ran out of the prop room as fast as I possibly could. I have not returned there since, but fear that I must if I want to save my career. I am going to lose the estate that has been in my family for centuries. I must gather the courage to enter that room again. I have not yet gathered the courage to inspect the automaton again. In fact, I am more afraid to do so for every passing day. When I am laying in my bed at night, unable to escape the thoughts in my head, I hear that whispering voice repeating over and over again. Some nights I hear the floorboards in the hallway creak. The creakings are subtle and far apart, as if someone is slowly walking down the hall towards my bedroom door. I spend most nights deprived of sleep, staring at the door handle, expecting it to turn at any moment. It never does, but I can hear the creaking lurking closer every night. A week has passed since my last entry. I don't know the last time I slept. Dreams and reality have mended together into an undefiable liquid, and now I can't tell one from the other. As I am in my bedroom writing this, I can hear a woman wailing in pain from the darkness of the hallway. The wailing is sometimes interrupted by an unearthly cry, as if to beckon me like a siren from the sea. She is begging me to help her. Yesterday was the day I finally managed to enter the prop room. Not out of courage, but out of desperation. The automaton was not sitting where I left it. It was sitting by the board, with the pointing stick in hand. I took a few steps back towards the door. Then it suddenly started to tap its stick at the board of letters to once again spell out the word hungry. A mysterious substance started to emerge from the corners of the room. The substance was pitch black and had both the characteristics of smoke and liquid. It was slithering on the floor towards me like a bed of serpents. When they reached me, it started crawling up my body until my entire side of view was engulfed in darkness. I wasn't able to move. Suddenly, the darkness lifted, and I found myself in a dimly lit chamber, the size of which was hard to estimate. The architecture had the overall look of an old, deteriorated dungeon. From the void, I could hear the faint sound of dripping water. That's when I saw a shadowy figure. I knew instantly that it was her. She was standing, motionless, in a basin of water with large pipes sticking out of the ceiling above it. The only sign that time was even flowing was the dozens of floating pale corpses, the corpses of children. She lifted her arms towards the ceiling pipes and whispered hissingly in a foreign language. Blood started streaming out of the pipes and showered her while she was screaming euphorically. I could feel the ravenous hunger practically radiating off her as I watched the blood flowing down her gray face. The blood of the innocent. Blood of the pure. The dark substance emerged again and all faded to black. I woke up on the floor back at the prop room in a pool of my own sweat, shaking like an orphan in the cold. I now know what she wants me to do. I just don't think I can do it.